disaster movie, Harry Shimmin was trekking in Kyrgyzstan when he was able to capture an avalanche live on camera.
Yeah, you must have seen this. It's been going like crazy in the news and on social media. It wasn't long before he realised the avalanche wasn't slowing down and heading straight towards him. Take a look.
Oh, dear God.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, miraculously, Harry lived to tell the tale and joins us now from Kyrgyzstan, I think. Good morning.
Morning, Harry.
Morning, how are you doing? Yeah, in Kyrgyzstan.
We're
It's so good
delighted
to
to
see
see
you,
you.
like, alive and wow. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad, to be fair. It happened on Friday, and we were up in the mountains for a few days without Wi-Fi after it happened, so I had a bit of time to think about it. So, yeah, doing OK now.
So, Harry, tell us the lead-up of why you were there. I know you was on a 10-day trek. Who were you with? And tell us what you were doing that day.
So, two friends from back home in the Isle of Man basically had the idea to go out to Kyrgyzstan on a guided tour, and I mean, I was definitely up for that, so joined along with them, met up with 7 other members, so there was 10 of us in total. We were on day 7 of the tour, and yeah, started out like any other normal day of the trek, really. So it was the final kind of hard day of the trek, and we'd just finished a hike 1,000 meters to the top of the highest point that we were going to get to. And yeah, at that point in time, I had separated off from the group. I was a little bit ahead. I'd got to the top early, and I went over to this kind of cliff edge to have a look at the view that we'd just kind of hiked up through the valley to take some nice photos. And then that's where I start hearing the cracking of ice behind me. And then I've already got my phone out at that point, so I spin around and the video goes from there.
So the thing is, Harry, because it sounds like a trip of a lifetime, so you're having this unbelievable hike, and then you get to the top. So behind you is effectively a cliff face, right? So you haven't got anywhere to go. So in front of you is the mountain ahead of you where the avalanche happens, and it comes towards you. But there's nowhere for you to go, and you're never going to outrun an avalanche anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the main things that some of the comments have been saying online is kind of like, you know, why has he just stood there? Why isn't he running for his life? Why is he just filming? Which completely justified. However, what the video doesn't show is the sheer drop that's right behind me. And the only direction that I can run is straight towards the avalanche. And it also doesn't show that right next to me is a bit of shelter that I'm already aware of. And so, yeah, between the choice of stay next to the shelter or run towards the direction of the avalanche, yeah, I was definitely going to stay there. And
also,
why not make them?
I mean, those comments are absurd because you're never going to outrun an avalanche, are you? So I get. So, but the difference between you dying and living here is effectively the amount of snow that covers you, correct?
Yeah, I think the difference between life and death at that point was about a stretch of maybe 20 meters. So if I was on the other side of the hill, wow, then I would have, well, probably a bit more than 20 meters, maybe about 50 meters or so. But yeah, fortunately, the actual bulk of the landslide didn't hit me, or the bulk of the avalanche. It was just this kind of cloud of powder and kind of light snow that covered me. So it was only a few inches of snow that was on top of me. So I carried or anything like that, fortunately.
I love that you kept the phone continuing to film and in the moment. And the last words that we hear you say is, "Dear God." So you actually did face death in that moment. Tell me what ran through your thoughts. Who were you remembering? What was the feeling like in that moment where you thought you were going to die? You said, "Dear God," And then what was you thinking?
So, from the start of the avalanche, I did not kind of think it was going to reach me when it first started moving. I wasn't scared. I wasn't worried. It was literally just like, wow, I'm really lucky to have caught this, especially so early on. I get a video. So all the way leading up to it, I was thinking, right, this is once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm going to come out done and take a proper avalanche video and get it right to the last minute. So when you hear me say, oh God, is the point where I'm like, yeah, time to move and get into this cover that's right next to me. But yeah, that's, I wouldn't say there was any kind of profound last thoughts. I wasn't thinking about disappointingly, really. And, you know, it's almost quite sad, I suppose. But my last thought was, I'm going to take a big risk here and I'm going to get a decent video.
Well, you sure did get the best video ever. That's there for life. But we're just so happy that you're okay and you're alive. What about the rest of the group? Are they okay? Did anyone else get injured?
So the rest of the group, all alive as well. Fortunately, they were kind of behind that cliff face that I was on, so they were further back and down the hill a little bit, so they had quite a bit more cover than I did. I think they probably had almost a more frightening experience somehow, because they were behind the hill and they couldn't see the avalanche coming. They could just hear it. So, you know, they just heard this terrifying sound coming towards them. They probably had an inkling that it was an avalanche, and then, you know, before they know it, it's just this massive kind of wall of snow coming over them. And so, yeah, fortunately, no one was very seriously injured. However, there was a lady who cut her knee down to the bone quite badly. She had to be taken off by horse to the nearest medical facility, and then another lady had fallen off a horse and kind of bruised herself quite badly. Fortunately, other than that, okay.
Yeah, good to hear, Harry. And Harry, you're gonna carry on trekking?
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely not put me up.
Good man.
Yeah.
That's what we like to hear. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you for joining us and thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, glad you're well, Harry. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. What a guy.
What a guy.